Hello, my name is Helena and I'm a third year PhD student in the Healthy Aging theme, and I'm supervised by Dr. Helen Holley-Haig and Professor Chris Todd. And my PhD is all about experiences of helping others and peer volunteering from people from the Bangladeshi and Chinese communities. So, as a bit of background, physical activity is obviously really key to help our physical and mental health. And one way we can increase physical activity is through peer volunteering schemes, where someone who is more active and connected within the community is paired with someone who's less active, to really increase their activity levels. So knowing what motivates the peer volunteers in this case is really important for these programs to be able to run. So from this, I did a scope review, which looked at the motivations of current or past peer volunteers who are aged over 50. We found 7 studies that met the inclusion criteria in this case, and the motivations kind of fit into 3 key themes, which was altruistic motivation, which is drive to help others, personal motivation, which is a drive to reach individual goals, so that was increase their own physical activity or socialize more, and past experiences, which is where they're motivated by their own experiences and barriers. So if they've maybe had a negative experience at like a gym class in the past, they don't want their participant to also have that experience. So there was also some really key takeaways from this was that few papers actually had a diverse peer volunteer population. And we know that recruitment from different ethnicities is really key because people like to be paired with someone who is similar to them. So to reach these communities participant wise, we need more volunteers in these communities. So my qualitative piece looked at the Bangladeshi and Chinese population. We chose this as Asian is the second largest ethnic group within Manchester after white British. And we chose Bangladeshi and Chinese because these were communities that we had good relationships with. And that really helped because I was kind of an outsider. So it meant that I was able to go in and talk to these groups. We ran focus groups with these 2 communities and also follow up one-to-one interviews to kind of delve more deeply into their experiences of the people in these communities. And I am still analysing the data, but the initial insights that kind of came from this was that the Chinese community often volunteered for reciprocal reasons. So if they help someone else, they will also be helped by them when they're in a time of need. And that was really important for them. Whereas the Bangladeshi community, for them, it was just they were already doing a lot of kind of informal helping in general. It was just very altruistic reasons. So if they just wanted to help, and they often refer to religion in this case, and that it was important within their religion. The Chinese community, though, a key barrier was personal funding. So for them, they were often taking on a lot of part-time work to help top up their pensions and stuff. So they didn't necessarily have time for volunteering, particularly unpaid volunteering with them where there's no incentives. Whereas for the Bangladeshi community, that was much more on a community level as they wanted to stay within their community. So they needed the centres within there to have more funding to put on more activities so that they could do the volunteering but stay within their area. And that funding just wasn't there at the time. A key barrier or worry for the Chinese community as well was social and political differences, particularly if they were paired with someone who was perhaps from mainland China or they were from Hong Kong, for example. Whereas for the Bangladeshi community, it was gender. However, I found that the older adults that I spoke to, it was less of a worry than the older people. However, there's some similarities. Was personal health was a worry for a lot of them. They felt like they weren't healthy enough to be able to help someone else. Travel barriers were key for the Chinese community. It was actually quite expensive to get into the centre of Manchester from where they live. And for the Bangladeshi community, again, the cost was they were often getting taxis, which were quite expensive. They needed everything to be close by. Language was a barrier. There's a lot of different dialects within China. And then for the Bangladeshi community, a lot of the older people didn't really speak English. So in these focus groups and interviews, we did have translators and interpreters. And then all recruitment posters just need to look really friendly and show socialization because that was really, really key for recruiting these people. So what's next? From here, I'm going to be looking at the data from the Active Connected Engaged trial, which is a peer volunteering trial that's currently running. And the volunteers from this completed a motivations questionnaire, and I'll be looking at their motivations compared with the demographics and also compared with dropouts, just so we can see if volunteer retention changes depending on motivations or on different demographics as well. And throughout this past year in particular, I've also done a lot of training and development work. So my scope review is actually under peer review within JAPA. So hopefully that'll be published soon. I'm also currently today giving a lecture on this to third year psychology students at the University of Liverpool. to show kind of like a real world intervention and the kind of barriers to different ethnic groups. And then also external to the PhD, I am also doing my qualification in health psychology to train to be a qualified health psychologist, hopefully at the end of that. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to email.